The hazy days of summer are just starting to fade, and pretty soon, instead of ice cream trucks outside, we'll be seeing yellow school buses. And parents, whether you're stocking up on crayons or outfitting a dorm room, those costs can sneak up faster than a pop quiz. Way Financial is here to help you ace this season's biggest test, keeping your budget intact while getting your kids the things they need for the school year. Here to help us with back-to-school finances is Joseph Laswell, CEO of Way Financial. Welcome, Joseph.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
I can't believe, okay, it's summer, but before we know it, it's going to be fall.
Yep.
And as we're looking forward to fall, why is the fall season important financially?
Well, back to school season is actually one of the biggest shopping seasons of the year. And let me tell you, it's easy to overspend, but I have a few safe and smart money spending tips that can make a big difference.
I could see how it adds up. I remember when I was younger and asking mom and dad for everything, and it's kind of hard to balance the, okay, what do we need and what are we just asking for because we want it? So, I mean, especially with the rising cost of living, Joseph, it's on everyone's mind right now. So will inflation affect back to school shopping this year?
Well, inflation is affecting everything. And yes, it absolutely is affecting prices. And even though inflation has come down a bit from its peak a couple years ago, you know, prices are still trending upwards. It's anticipated that the average family this year is going to spend about $890 per student on back to school supplies. This is according to the National Retail Federation. And this does include things like clothing and electronics and basic school supplies and necessities. And you know, these costs only go up as our kids are getting older. It's assumed somewhere for college students around $1,300 per student when we're considering things like technology or maybe furniture or other school supplies.
Yeah, so it definitely adds up. So what are some ways families can stay on budget who are trying to?
Yeah, I have 5 smart money tips that I think can make a big difference. Tip number 1 is give yourself time. You know, if we can spread these costs out over a longer period of time, that gives you the chance to look for things on sale or making sure we're getting a bargain, right? We need good deals. And it's kind of like any of the other major holidays. I say Christmas, you know, if you wait until the last minute, you may be forced to only buy those full price items.
And then what are some ways, you said you have some more tips too as well.
Well, couple more tips is like make a list, right? Make a list, stick to the list, download the list that from the school supplies and then stick to it. Don't let those impulse buys blow your budget. Tip number 3 is create a budget. Create a budget for each one of your students or your kids. And then look at this as an opportunity to talk to the kids about financial responsibility and how we have a budget and we only have so much money to make things stretch and work. And then check your inventory. You may have supplies from last year, you know, a half-used box of pens, or maybe last year's calculator will still work. Maybe you can get one more year out of the laptop. And then final 5th tip for families with multiple kids. Of course, buy in bulk. If we can spread these expenses out over multiple kids, then that's another good way to save money.
I love the plan of having a list. I'm a list person. The grocery list, I'll get what I need and I don't veer off track, so I'm sure that can help with back to school finances. You mentioned earlier kids, students going to college. What about parents sending kids off to college?
Yeah, college is a whole nother ball game. I have a second son going to college here in 3 weeks, and you have a lot more big ticket items to consider, like dorm supplies, right? And technology is more expensive, and tuition cost, and even travel expenses are a big deal. And then plus all of the normal supplies. And if you're helping your kids with this area of finances, this is a good time to have the conversation with them about budgeting and financial responsibility and how to manage credit cards, or maybe how to avoid some of the student debt pitfalls. You know, at Way Financial, we get the privilege to help families create smart spending strategies. And, you know, ultimately bigger than that, maybe how to stay organized and stay on track for your long-term financial planning goals like retirement, all while you're raising a family and helping get these kids through their educational years.
I like that you highlighted it can also be a learning opportunity for kids and those who are sending their kids off to college, because they can get a better understanding of, you know, we're buying these things and this is what you need to learn about spending. So all helpful tips, Joseph.
And you know, back to school season doesn't have to derail your whole finances. And, for a lot of families, these expenses end up on credit cards. And so that's even a bigger headwind towards your long-term financial planning goals. And so, you need a game plan in place. Stick to those 5 tips that I gave you. If you feel like you could benefit from some smart spending money strategies, or bigger than that, you would like some help getting organized financially, I invite you to reach out, schedule a phone consultation with myself or maybe one of our licensed advisors, and we'd love to help talk through these things with you.
Yeah, and I'm going to let our viewers know where they can go for more info. Always a pleasure, Joseph.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, and to our viewers, a little planning can go a long way. For tools and resources and other helpful info, you can visit wavefinancial.com/ABC10, or you can call 209-542-4929. And you can also scan the QR code on the screen. It will take you to the latest info from Wave Financial.